going on? So we're trimming. You know what we're trimming? That is Gorilla Glue #4. Not very leafy. It's really nice to work with. So we're going to trim through this pretty quick. This is about the nicest length of branch to work with if you're trimming. And to trim these, basically all you need is two things. You want a pair of fine tipped trimmers. These are the Fiskars titanium coated. These things are great, and they've got a really fine tip, so when you're getting in there you can really just kind of use your tip. And you're going to want a shot glass, just like that. So every couple of branches I'll just take a 30-second break, let these suckers soak. That's isopropyl alcohol in there, by the way. So they just soak. The isopropyl alcohol will dissolve the resin off your pruners. Give them a little wipe on some paper towel, just like that. And then you get back to it. So I'm going to show you guys how I trim. Now, some people really do a thorough job wet trimming. I don't. I don't see a point in it. And the reason why is this. So we're going to trim this. Okay? So we're going to trim a few things off. We're going to trim these great big sun leaves off, and you will find one of these at every branch node. Okay? Let's see if we can get that in the camera. All right. So here's our branch node, and here's our leaf. All right? You're going to find one of those at every node. So they just pop right off. These are the easy ones. Now, you can also do this while it's still on the tree. Sometimes it's easier to do that because then you don't need multiple hands. The tree holds the branch for you, right? Because it's still attached. So you can just go through and either snip these out or break them off with your fingers. Sometimes it's easier to just get a pair of pruners like these ones, okay? Spring-loaded as well. And then you can just get in there and just cut the crap out of it and just let all the leaves just fall on the ground. That will give you less work while you're trying to actually get your plant down. And sometimes what I'll do, depending on the time I have, is the week leading up to harvest, because I have all my harvests staggered, right? I know when things are coming down. What I will do is the week before harvest, I will go out to my plant, and at that point, I am not concerned about any sort of photosynthesis requirements from these leaves. Not at all. They usually just dry up. They turn into these, right? And then they fall off your plant. They're useless. The plant's shedding them anyways. So you can go in and you can just trim all those out. We didn't have that chance today. So the reason I don't do a thorough wet trim is because after you take all these leaves off, you're going to have a lot of these smaller leaves here, okay? For one thing, those leaves are coated. The sun is garbage out here, so you probably won't be able to see, but those leaves, come on camera, focus, they're coated in crystals. And I bought a big 24-inch bowl trimmer. I'm going to do a video for you guys. You guys are going to love this. It's probably too late for a lot of you to use one this year, but if you still have plants hanging, I highly suggest you pick one up. I literally just trimmed and bagged an entire, remember that massive OG blueberry plant that I had that you guys saw me do that video on a couple weeks ago? That massive fucking plant? I trimmed and bagged that whole plant in 2 hours using that bowl trimmer. So that's another reason why. So basically, to trim, right? Hang on, I'm going to move the camera down a little bit, guys, okay? It's kind of awkward for me up here. Just a second. There. All right, you guys see? All right, so what I do is I pinch it in my fingers with my thumb and my fingers, because you want to be able to do this, okay? Start at the bottom and then just trim. I'm not going to take these little leaves off. They're going to stay. Because what happens is when your plant is drying, you want it to dry slowly. 10 to 14 days. You don't want to rush this process. There's literally chemical processes that are happening when this is drying, okay? Don't rush that process. You're going to ruin the quality of your plant. Just let it dry nice and slow in the dark. No sunlight, okay? So all we do, and the reason I hold it like this is so I can spin it. So I just work my way up the plant, take off some of those sun leaves, and then I just keep spinning it. And with the other reason I hold it like that is because as I snip stuff off, see, I can just do that and it floats the leaf away. And then as I move up, I just change my grip. Right? And then see, and you don't want to trim top down. Okay? You want to trim from the bottom. And the reason you want to trim the bottom or from the bottom is you want to be able to see all these stems. Okay? You can't do that working this way. So you got to work from the bottom of the plant up. So change your grip, move it up, snip these off, right? Give it a little spin to flick the leaves off. Keep moving it up. And yes, I always wear gloves. I hate having resin on my hands when I'm doing this. Everything gets sticky. The buttons on my phone get all sticky. It's a bitch to clean, right? So, and I'll show you. You saw what this looked like before. Get out of there. And I found a little bit of bud mold. So can you guys see that on the camera? Right there. See how it's kind of grayish tan color? So we're just going to cut that piece right off. I have a bucket right here at my feet for any bud mold. All right? I am not trimming that any more than this. And because what's going to happen, actually we're going to take that one off. I don't like that one. There. So what's going to happen is, right, you hang your plants. Remember I told you I always leave a little bit of stem and something to hang from. So it's going to hang right in this little crotch right here on this little branch. It's going to hang like this. What's going to happen when it hangs, because this is fresh, so all the leaves are nice and stiff, right? Especially because we had a rainstorm last night, they soaked up lots of water. What's going to happen when you hang it like this is all these leaves, okay, they're going to start to droop down, and then they're going to encase that bud in all those leaves, okay, like a nice blanket. And what that's going to do is that's also going to slow down your drying process. If I trimmed all of those off and like manicured this, for one thing, it would take me days, and I will not spend days. I have too much time and too many things to do. So you want these to dry as slowly as possible, because then you are developing the quality of your final product simply by allowing it to do a slower dry. Okay? So that's it. From what it was before to this, and we're done. And we grab the next one. See? We grab the next one. Do the same thing. Grab it, your little pinch grip so you can flip it around. Start at the bottom. Work our way up. And see how handy it is to be able to just spin it? It's a lot easier on your hands. You don't have to keep changing grip. And that's why it's handy to have these little fine tip pruners too, because you can just get right up in there, snip that out. You can take that, and we want to get this down near the stem in here, right? I know the light's really shitty, guys. I apologize, it's overcast today. So basically, just little pruners right in there. Snip these off. Anything else that you don't really like, gone, like that. That's it. Okay? And I know everybody has their own style of doing these things, and that's understandable. I've got no hate. Everybody does their own thing. See, ones like these, the longer ones, they're more of a headache to trim, right? But see this branch I'm holding right here? There's nothing on it. There's nothing here. There's only a little nug here, right? And basically everything I want is on the end. But is it worthwhile for me to just cut this off right here? Or is it easier for me to just hang this one piece? You see? So what I do is this section right here, I pinch that between my knees. Now I'm hands-free. Now I can manipulate this however I want to. See? And just come up here, trim it, and my knees act like a second pair of hands. And it allows you to just work through much faster. So just come in, cut out everything you don't want, everything that's going to be in the way. I'm not worried about larf because when I run this stuff through my bowl trimmer, all the larf just falls into the bottom of the bowl trimmer, and then I'm just going to take it and turn it all into bubble hash. Right? So once, get in there. So there's a process, a definite process to doing this, and yes, it does take time. Especially if you're all alone, right? So you see how I'm working my way from the bottom of the plant up? That's the easiest way to do this. And it definitely helps to use your knees to hold your plant. I don't like to lay my plants down on the table and trim them that way because the buds get flattened. And and if you've noticed, I am not grabbing these buds to manipulate them. I don't ever grab my buds. I'm always using a stem because they're nice and soft and flexible, right? So you can just twist and turn them however you want. And then I move the plant down. And if I do need to move something like this, I'll just grab it by a leaf. And I'll just pull it by a leaf. But you see how it's more awkward to work with one of these larger branches than the other small one I just showed you, right? So depending on how your plant is grown and what the branch structure is like and how much room you have to hang it, because it takes up a lot less room hanging, 20 branches big like this versus 100 smaller ones like this. But for speed of trimming, you can trim smaller branches way faster than big ones. All right, this one's almost done. But you see how I have to keep moving it, and every time I move it, all these little branches are getting caught on my legs, right? So basically the leaves I'm cutting off are larger leaves and leaves that have almost no crystals on them. There. See? Done. I don't know if I mentioned it. This is the Gorilla Glue number 4. So that's it to trimming. I have a whole lot to do, hours to do, but that's okay, because once the trimming's done and it's hanging, that whole part of the growing process is finished. So I hope you guys like this one. Hope you find some useful tips and tricks. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to help you guys out. Probably for a lot of you OG growers, you're just like, yeah, whatever, he's just trimming, blah, blah, blah. That's okay, no problem, I get it. I know that there's also a lot of new growers who watch my channel, and so basically I'm just trying to help. So I hope you guys like this one. Have an awesome day, and grow good weed. Talk to you soon.